From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
Well, good evening, everyone. About 2 weeks away from now, a little less than that, we have got a total annular eclipse. Now, we're going to get into exactly what that means here, but that total annular eclipse right here can be best viewed right here. Anything outside of that is going to be less than the total annular eclipse, so a little more than 80% for the areas right here, and of course you start seeing less and less as you head south. So let's kind of take it over Northern California, and really you can see most of Northern California for all of our areas here are going to be within that 80% or more. So as you start getting here, you're going to be closer to 80%, you're going to be closer to 90% as you get to here. All right, so as you get into this path, this is where you're going to have the total annular eclipse. And take a look at this, because it does clip extreme northeastern portions of Modoc County, and Alturas is just within that. Now, it's better for you in Cedarville, not to mention Fort Bidwell. Tule Lake is part of that as well. Now, where to our neighbors to our north in Oregon, this is where you actually really have a really good portion of the state of Oregon that is going to be well within that path. So that's something that's certainly worth checking out, and to kind of give you an idea of the path that we're dealing with this year, right? So there you can see it just clips Northern California and then heads southward. Now next year will be a total eclipse, and that will be in 2024. I believe it's in April. I'll have to double check that, but that is going to be, of course, well out of our area and move off into that direction. So the question is, what's an annular eclipse? What's a total eclipse? Well, so an annular eclipse is when the moon covers the sun but does not reach 100% totality. So as the moon covers the sun, you still have that ring of fire. So really, it's not a 100% solar eclipse. In fact, typically it's about 89 to 90% because you still have that ring of fire. Now, another thing to take note is during an annular eclipse, you can't look at it with the naked eye ever at any point in time during the eclipse. All right, so when you have a total eclipse, that's when the moon completely and totally covers the sun. And now that is when, once it's in totality, you can actually take off those glasses and look at it with the naked eye. But boy, once that sun kind of starts peeking out again, get those glasses back on, because it can be very dangerous. So this is the ring of fire that we have to look forward to in a little less than 2 weeks. Now check this out. Alturas is like, hey, this is a pretty cool event. Let's go ahead and make an event for it. So they're going to have the Modoc National Forest and Friends invite you to the Modoc Ring of Fire Solar Eclipse Viewing Event on Saturday 14th, 2023. There's all kinds of different events here, and of course they kind of talk about the different timing in here. Of course, you can check out the eclipse times in here as well. So if you are looking for a place to go that has a really cool event that's local in Northern California, maybe head up to Modoc County and check that out. All right, so here's the deal. Let's get into the forecast now. No more eclipses. We're talking about actually some breezy conditions. You may have noticed today those gusty winds out there, especially in the morning. But what we're going to see here is this more breezy conditions off and on over the next few days. But on top of that, we've got a warming trend this week. And for many of the warmer locations, we're talking low 90s returning back to the forecast. So let's talk about the winds. So as we go into your Monday around noon, you'll notice on the north and west side of the valley, this is where we expect some of the stronger winds. Now, they probably won't be as strong as they were today, but it will be breezy nonetheless. Then those winds subside by Monday afternoon. And I'm expecting on Tuesday to see the return of the winds. In fact, they may be stronger than what we saw today. Here you can see by around noon on Tuesday, we're going to be looking at winds getting close to 30 miles per hour, which means some higher gusts. And that's, again, north and west side of the valley. Chico typically doesn't see as strong a winds during these types of events. And then, of course, as we go into Tuesday afternoon, they're actually still kind of sticking around. So as opposed to what we're seeing here today, and we'll see again tomorrow, where we're seeing those winds die down in the afternoon, on Tuesday, they're not going to die down a whole lot even through the afternoon. Now, does this mean we need to be concerned about fire danger? Absolutely. We're still kind of at the back end and just kind of we've had all that rain, so the humidity levels are a bit higher. But when you see a few days, even after a rain event of these dry north winds, that can tend to dry things out and give us more fuels for fires, right? So this is something we'll be watching over the next few days because those winds could even continue on into Wednesday, Thursday of next week as well. So we'll have to keep monitoring that. Notice the spin of low pressure. This is responsible for the showers and thunderstorms we've seen the last few days. On the back side of that low, see the rotation around that low, what's happening is we're just seeing those clouds in the eastern mountains, but it's going to be dry. I don't expect any rain for you today. So that's what it looks like as we go into Monday. Now, what's interesting is actually we have a very weak disturbance that'll pass through Monday afternoon. It could bring some sprinkles and light showers for places like Siskiyou County and maybe even Modoc County. But otherwise, the rest of us will be looking at dry conditions entirely. And then dry for Tuesday, taking you through the rest of next week, even into next weekend. We'll continue with those dry conditions and mainly sunny skies. Now, it looks like we may start to see some clouds move in by next weekend, but notice we're just not seeing a lot of organized storms heading our way anytime soon, anytime for the immediate future. So the cooler air that's associated with that low pressure system, that's actually moving out this week, next week, right? And then warmer air begins to move in with that ridge of high pressure and temperatures increase. Those low 90s I was talking about by the middle to latter part of next week. Here's a look at your wave heights taking you into Monday afternoon. We're finally starting to see a better drop in those wave heights, but still up around 6 to 7 feet. Of course, much better heading along the immediate coast. So your marine forecast for tomorrow. North winds at 5 to 15 knots. Your waves from the north at 7 feet at 7 seconds, and from the west at 2 feet at about 19 seconds. There's your low tide at 8:14 tomorrow morning, and your high tide at 2:38 in the afternoon. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 7:13, and now the sunset is before 7 o'clock. So we're starting to see these shorter and shorter days, or at least the amount of sunlight we see during the day. And there's a small correct advisory here for tomorrow as well. All right, so let's take a look at your forecast for tonight. Still some clouds off in the eastern mountains. Otherwise, it's dry, but it's cooling off. I mean, look at that, low 30s for some of those higher elevations. It's getting cold in the morning hours, and that's going to be pretty normal now. Temperatures low 50s tonight into tomorrow morning for the valley, and in the low 50s here out along the coast as well. So for tomorrow, temperatures are starting to warm up, but still right around the upper 70s to about 80 degrees in the valley. In the mountains, we're in the 60s for the most part, although the 70s for Trinity County and around 80 inland. And for the coast, temperatures in the low to mid 60s. So your 7-day outlook is pretty much going to keep things dry for the next 7 days. Warming trend across the board. Whether you're in Siskiyou County, Modoc County, or even into the eastern mountains, you're looking at a warming trend. That's also the case for the valley. There are those 90s returning as early as Wednesday, I think. Yeah, we could quite possibly touch 90 for some of us on Wednesday. Otherwise, temperatures between 91, maybe upwards of around 93 for some of the warmer spots by Thursday. Here's your 7-day outlook for the North Coast and, of course, for Trinity County. And we are going to be looking at temperatures also increasing there. Inland could also see some low 90s by Thursday, Friday, mid to upper 80s for Trinity County.